I hope you are enjoying this brand new series on One Rental at a Time where we interview new investors as much as I am. Let's welcome the latest and greatest, Brian, to the show. Brian, what's going on, man?
Going well, sunny California. Can't complain.
Oh, sure you can. Everybody can complain. There
Yeah, it's a choice, right? It's a choice. You can choose to complain.
you go. Well, do me a
Yeah,
favor,
no,
Brian. Introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, and we'll get into your story.
yeah, definitely. My name is Brian. I actually live here in the Bay Area. I'm a performance coach, also a personal trainer, have my own business, and also a contractor for different corporations and companies. So that's a little bit about me. I also have a strong passion for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I compete in that as well.
Wow, you're a man of many talents and one not to be messed with. Note to self: don't piss Brian off.
Yeah, so
Well,
that
yeah, let's get into the real. It looks like we have a little bit of lag, so if I'm not interrupting you, it's just the lag on my end. I apologize. But Brian, tell us about the real estate journey. Where are you at with that? How did it start?
yeah, so currently I'm at one single family home in Sacramento.
Nice.
It's a 3-2. How it started, it actually I've always had a curiosity for investing. I kind of climbed the ladder you know, through investing with stocks originally, and then once I was able to save up enough money and take care of things that I needed to, like paying off my car and making sure I had the correct debt structure and all those things in place, I was able to finally purchase my first home. I closed it last year. Actually, sorry, in 2022, uh, December.
Okay.
So, yeah, and honestly, I started the real estate journey back in 2019, 2020, especially when the rates were really low. I got pre-approved and I was kind of looking things up already and trying to do my research, and just wasn't able to really pull the trigger on anything that was worthwhile. I was actually looking in the Fresno market actually at that time, obviously one that you're familiar with. So and kind of decided to just dial back a little bit, save a little bit more, and do more research and kind of, I guess earn that privilege to invest. And then fast forward, about a year and a half, and here I am with one already in the bag, kind of working on the second one now, saving up, trying to look, within my buy box and things like that, following,
That's
your
awesome.
lead. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, a lot of folks live in expensive areas like the Bay Area. So, the Bay Area is nuts. Just so you know, it never cash flowed. I looked in the Bay Area for a year in 2002. It didn't cash flow. So I had to go out of area as well, as you know. Um, so you go to Fresno first, doesn't work. Yeah, 2019, 20 or 20 and 2021 was tough. Unless you have a network of folks, it was really hard. What brought you to Sacramento? Was that just like the next closest market, or why Sacramento?
Yeah, so I have actually friends and family in Sacramento.
Ah,
Also too, you know, I was working with a really good lender, who actually I became very close with, and he has a team that that's very good. And you know, I wanted something a little closer. It's about an hour and 40, hour 30 away from where I live, whereas Fresno's about three. And I was looking in Fresno, like Reedley, like the smaller towns nearby, right? But so in Sacramento actually was one of the hot markets during I think it was the in 2020, I think it was, or 2021, I think it was the most heated market in America at one point.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and it also had one of the biggest crashes too, I think, right? Short-term
Yeah.
crashes, along with like, Boise and Vegas and Phoenix and things like that. So and I was able to look it up and do some research, and it was a growing area, and a lot of transplants from the Bay Area were going there, and I thought it would be a perfect investment opportunity to kind of search there. So
I like it. I love the consistency. I love the focus. How long were you looking in Sacramento before you latched on to this first deal? Was it months or what's going on there?
yeah, so it was actually about 7 months, but the whole process was not short. It took, from basically it took two pre-approvals. It took 2.5 years, right? It wasn't like an easy find. And obviously you've mentioned that too, like you searched 3 years before you found
Yeah,
something. Right? So people think that this is like a quick process. It's definitely not. It definitely takes due diligence and patience and also
consistency.
exactly. So
Yeah, I really want people to hear that, right? If people hear about, hey, I got a deal, I did this, but they really miss the work. And maybe this comes easier to you than many because you're a trainer, you're jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you just know you got to show up, right? You got to show up, you got to put in the work, the groundwork every day. And you never know when it comes. If it 7 months, you Brian, most people hear you say 7 months and they're like, I can't do that. I'm going to do it in 3. No, you don't know. Your mission to find a deal, you should be able to find a great deal, not just a deal. Any idiot can buy out of the MLS. What we do
mhm.
here at One Rental at a Time is we do the work, we find average, and then we find great deals. They're hard to find. They're hard on purpose. It's pretty wild, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And if you put like a deadline like that on yourself, there's a lot more pressure, and then more pressure makes more mistakes, and then you're rushing, right? So that's another thing you should mention as well, right? It's like you don't have to buy, right? You
Yes.
don't you don't have to buy, right? When you're forced to buy, you start being forced to do things, right? And you become irrational, and that's not what investing is about. So, and emotions are involved. So that's another, it's like psychological element, right?
Yeah, I love what you're doing. Your discipline as a coach and jujitsu is definitely helping you here because you see the effort, getting 1% better every day. I like it. Well, let's talk about your deal. I always like the numbers. What tell us about this first deal you did December of 22.
Yeah. So as you know, in December, rates were shooting up high. Markets were changing everywhere nationally, specifically Sacramento. It was kind of in a downturn for a quick
Yeah.
sec. And houses were sitting, nobody was buying. Um, People were willing to, buy points. People were willing to drop the price and buy points. So, you know, it's interesting because I went through maybe like 5 different homes, one of them being the one I currently have. And I remember talking to my agent. She went and actually drove by the neighborhood for me and did a virtual with me and kind of looked at it and reached out to the agent and, you know, mentioned to them like, what's the deal with this? Would you be willing to drop the price? Blah blah blah. And mind you, that house was sitting on the market on and off from December, or sorry, from April
Mm.
2022 till I bought it, on and off, on and off.
Nice. Okay.
So
Motivation.
I'm looking motivated seller. It also needed work. They had the roof needed work, a bunch of different things, right? And luckily for me, my father, who I love dearly, he's a contractor, so he helped me with this one. We fixed it up and everything together, so we saved labor and things like that.
Mm.
But I was like, okay, motivated seller sitting on the market. It's been on and off. It has issues. They already dropped the price. Okay. So I told them like simply like this is what I can afford. If you can do it, great. Uh and they said, no, that's too much. Like, we're not gonna do it, blah blah. I was like, okay, no problem. We tried, right? Then fast forward, this is like maybe in October. Fast forward about a month, they actually reached out to my agent, and basically said, "Hey, is your client still interested? Right? We'd be willing to negotiate." And I think they were trying to sell it for at the time 330, I believe. And I dropped it. I asked them for 305, and then they were willing to go up to 320. And then I remember telling them 317, and then they said okay. So we got it locked in, and then went through the standard process through contract, and then we did the house inspection, and I was able to drop them down another 2,000. And they also gave me a credit as well. I think like $2,000 or something as well on top of that to help buy the rate down. So I also added another I think it was like 7,000 or five or 7,000 into it as well to buy the rate down.
Mhm.
So I have a 5.99 on it.
Nice.
So I was able to get it discounted. So and then the house originally they were selling it for was 380. They dropped it to 360. So it was just like one of those things, right? And the sellers are from the Bay Area, they're investors. They actually were doing I think it's a 1031.
Mhm.
Well, they wanted to get rid of that and then upgrade to something else. Um, so they already had bought a new home and they were just
Mm.
literally sitting on this one, right? So they're just hemorrhaging, right?
Yeah.
So they were needing to get rid of it. They couldn't afford both mortgages, but so it worked out. It worked out. It's really easy though because so I got it, I bought everything like that was good, and then we closed December 27th, just before the new year, so I could do the taxes and everything with it.
Sure.
Um, Fast forward 2 weeks, and the crazy storms, right?
Yeah.
That we had. Uh, I had a huge, maybe like 50, 60 foot tree in the backyard. It literally fell into the house.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah, it's crazy.
whoops.
And just a bunch of storm damage and stuff like that. And luckily, though, I was able to work through the insurance. You know how that goes. They're not the best, but it was still enough to pay to get the roof uh, fixed. So I was
Yeah.
able to fix the whole roof, which needed to be fixed originally, anyways.
Yeah.
The trees, I also wanted them out of the backyard just because of the danger.
Sure.
And the original owner, they wanted to take the trees out that summer, but because they wanted to sell it, they didn't want to invest the extra cash and fix the roof. So it all worked out, even with the catastrophe, right? Things happen for reasons, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. At the end of the day, you got a roof paid by insurance. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Brand new roof. I got the trees removed as well. So it all worked out, and I was able to get it for a good deal.
Yeah. Oh, I love that attitude, right? Yeah, I've had several insurance claims over 25 years. The first one is always interesting because you just don't know. But generally speaking, it's a easy process, right? It's not crazy. They come out, they inspect, they take pictures, they get bids, this, that. At the end of the day, it's okay. I mean, insurance is important. It's there for a reason. So, um, glad to see that worked out.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
what's it rent
yeah.
for?
So it's renting right now for 22.75.
Okay.
Yeah, and my mortgage with the insurance, everything, right?
Hmm.
It's 1870, I think, I believe, something like that.
Okay. All right. All right. So you have a little bit money for reserves and all of that. Are you doing self management or are you paying somebody in Sacramento?
Self-management.
Okay. All right. And how's it been? You've had
And
it. You've had it a year.
it's been great. The tenant that lives there, he's great, very low maintenance, good guy. He works from home. He has a son that lives abroad and comes back every break.
Hmm.
So he's not doesn't have any pets. It's a great tenant. Very respectable guy too.
Hmm.
So I can't complain. And assuming he remains the way he is, I probably won't raise the rents as well, just because I think I want this type of person in my home long term. And if they're treating my home right and they're doing they're doing well by me, I think they deserve to live there at that rate for the next couple years at least, and see from there, but
Nice. Okay.
yeah, yeah, I mean, definitely. So
Nice.
make an extra
Well,
couple of bucks, not bad.
good for you. Good for you. So, so it sounds like you're in the process of chipping away, creating another down payment. Actually, let's go back. So you got a discount. You did buy in a good time, right? Sacramento, really, the country had a dip this November, December, January. It's back now. Sacramento's on fire again. So if you had to ballpark, what do you think it's worth today? Just curious. 400?
So looking back, when I looked about maybe 3, 4 months ago, uh, the house about 3 months ago, yeah, the house had appreciated like 110 grand or something like that already.
You mean owning assets works, Brian? I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's crazy because like going into it, I felt confident already because of how much they discounted it.
Yeah.
And also looking around the neighborhood, which was a decent neighborhood, um, there's already homes with the same square footage, same bedroom, bathroom that were being sold. I mean, obviously a little bit more renovations and things like that done, but they're up to par with mine now. But um, they were being sold for like 420. So it was just going to increase my, home's value already, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
I
really
think,
what you stumbled on was the perfect opportunity, December of 2022, a property that would not pass FHA, right? It had roof problems, so it's not going FHA. It had been listed for so long that the locals were no longer looking at it. You had somebody, a seller who made a financial commitment on something else, so they were bleeding, and you were the right answer. You didn't rush, you didn't overpay, you knew your numbers, you followed up. They reached back out. I love everything that you did. It's exactly what others should follow. So nice work, Brian.
yeah, a little unorthodox for sure, definitely. With the tree and,
Yeah, the tree.
it all worked out for sure. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. So what's next? Are you chunking away, saving money? Gonna do it again? Gonna stay in Sacramento? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm looking to stay in Sacramento just because I feel like it's a good market, and also I actually like Sacramento personally. Um, you know, my uncle who owns a couple houses himself, he told me that if you're gonna invest in a house, that's great. Be willing to live there though.
I like
Yeah,
that.
if yeah, like you never know what will happen. You can't foresee everything.
Hmm.
And if you're gonna invest in a home somewhere, you have to be ready and willing to live there if need be, right?
Yeah,
So
I
just
like
don't
that.
go buy anything randomly just because it looks like a good investment or whatever. It's like something that you could potentially live in if you had to.
I like it.
So
I like it. I like
that's
it.
my tip today. But
Nice.
yeah, so stay in Sacramento and then yeah, I'm just chipping away at the down payment right now, just trying to save up. Um, and another thing I think I would do differently is probably with the realtor this time. I think because this home, I actually found it
Mm,
and I had the realtor represent me. I think next time if I do that, I will negotiate with my realtor and be like, hey, like I found this home, I'm ready to buy, I'm good to go, but I need like 1% back on this.
mm,
All you have to do is just go sell it or
yeah.
get it. I think that's pretty fair. If I did all the
Okay.
legwork, everything like that.
Okay.
So but yeah, I have a girlfriend as well who's a nurse and she knows a decent amount, probably more than the average person about real estate. And I'm
Mhm.
just trying to also kind of inspire her as well and just kind of open her eyes to different things. I've shown her some of your videos and she's also intrigued. But I'm just trying to explain to her that, she wants her forever home, right?
Mm. Mhm.
Um, in the Bay Area, especially being close.
That's a lot of scratch, man. That's expensive.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be at least a million something, right?
Ah,
At
crazy.
least a million, right? And it's just crazy to be throwing that number out. But you know, I was just trying to open her eyes. It's like, okay, like she has a lot of capital, like a lot of capital already just saved, and she's not doing anything with it. So I'm just trying to open her eyes to, it's like, look, like if you just put 30K or 40K, right, you could potentially get something that
Mhm.
could produce cash flow and an asset and be one day maybe a retirement for you, right? Like you
Yeah,
never know. You pay this home off in less than 10 years, and we're young,
yeah,
we're 30, I'm 30, she's 29.
nice.
It's like if you pay this home off in like let's say 10 years, right? That's if you're just adding 1,000 a month or
Oh
something chill,
wow.
right? It's like you could potentially make all this money, right?
Yeah,
Every month. You passively, right?
yeah. Make it while you're sleeping. It's pretty amazing. It's funny to hear you say 30 because that's when my journey started, also at 30. So
Yeah.
wow, 20 years ago, dude. I feel old. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You don't look like it, man. You don't look like it, so that's good.
There you
If I
go.
could
There you
look
go.
like you when you're that old, then
There you go. There you
I
go.
don't ask.
Well,
It's funny because I don't ask people. When I talk to them, I don't ask people how old they are. I ask them how young they are. So
ah, there you go. Well, I'm 51 years young. There you go. I'll tell them. I don't hide from it. I am who I am.
still, so
There you go. I like it. Well, Brian, do me a favor. Where can people follow your journey? Maybe check out what you're doing in jujitsu or training. Do you have an Instagram or where should we send them?
yeah, I have an Instagram. It's at CAMELOBGJJ.
What does that stand for?
So Camelo is a nickname my
Okay.
coach, who's Brazilian, gave me.
I
Uh,
like it.
it's funny. It's a funny nickname, actually. I don't know if it's appropriate to mention on air, but the BG is for my initials and
Okay.
JJ is G. So
Oh, there you go. All right. Very cool, Brian. Well, you're amazing, man. Keep at it, doing the work, leading by example. I appreciate you. Thank you for saying yes to doing your story, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, I one last thing I wanted to mention is thank you for everything that you're doing as well. Giving out information that's credible, it's useful, it's purposeful. People need this. People need to hear this. It's life changing. It changed my life. I think if people just spent 5 minutes a week, even, it'd be, which is not a lot of time if you think about it. I think it would hopefully be worthwhile to them. And another shout out I would like to give is to my good friend Terrell T. He's actually the one that introduced me to your channel.
Ooh, I like it.
I had to give him some credit as well.
There you
So
go. Terrell T, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. All right, bud. Take care. Thanks again.
thank you, Michael. Take care.